like to start with Ali, because today Emirates NBD, along with ICIC Bank, they're deploying the first blockchain projects for remittance. And my questions to Ali is, what's the return on investment that you're doing in the project itself? So today what we hear about blockchain is technical talk. So we would like to hear from you the business side of it. So what do you see of how Emirates NBD is going to benefit out of this blockchain project?
Okay, assalamu alaikum and good morning everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to be with you, Ziad, today on the panel to talk about blockchain. So some of you who knows about Emirates NBD, we've started working on blockchain a bit earlier than some of the companies in this region. So last year in October, we announced that we managed to do the first money transfer remittance on Bitcoin platform that is customized by Infosys with ICICI Bank in India, but this was last year. Since then, we have developed a lot, not only on the remittance, but on the utilizing the blockchain as a platform for supporting the requirements of Dubai city to become totally document on blockchain by the year 2020. So for us as a bank, yes, blockchain was a disruptor to our technology, to our business, our core business. We were very worried that it could really take over what we do and put us out of business. That's why we jumped on it much earlier than any other industry. Only financial institutes probably were on blockchain, trying to research and experiment earlier than any other industries. So where we are today, we look at blockchain as it is mainly supporting two different streams, at least if we can say. One stream is to become more like a business process optimization type of a platform, and the other which comes into the asset and value transfer. Now, asset and value transfer is a little bit tricky, especially with many of the regulators are not very comfortable with the banking getting into doing the value transfer of the money itself on blockchain. While we wish to start, we wanted to start on the second dimension, which is to use the blockchain as a business process optimization platform, which means we use the blockchain to help us transact between each other and across industries. For example, today, if you take any resident of a city of Dubai, for example, if they want to complete one use case or one transaction of their daily life, say, for example, registering for the residence visa, they have to go through different touch points. Although the Dubai smart government have integrated the systems in the background, still there's a lot of handshake here. And people who live in Dubai and other places also in the region know that this type of process takes time. So what we are working together with some of the government organizations here is that to look at the end user difficulty today and see how can we really solve this problem by bringing it on blockchain and using, like the speaker in the earlier presentation very well described the blockchain, use the distributed ledger and the ability to transact across different organizations using the blockchain. Now, going back to your point, Ziad, about how do we make money. Now, when we facilitate the end user's experience and life and make their life easy, we'll definitely charge some nominal fees in between. And this is where we see that it can generate value to us. But at the same time also, we look also from the inside out, right? So inside, if we provide more functions and more use cases for our customers to use them on their mobile phones, we will save them. First, we will save them from the need to come to our touch points in the branches and on the call centers, for example. But at the same time, also we'll save ourselves from a lot of manual work. So the value come here is not only from charging some nominal fees for the transaction, it also comes from saving ourselves from the internal effort by automating and implementing more like a straight-through process type of transactions.
The solution you're building, is it open for, like, let's say, to outsource it or to give it to exchange houses to use it, for them to offer I would say, a cheaper way to send money from UAE to their home country, or it's only mandate to be for Emirates NBD?
So in the world of blockchain, if you want to use the technology only inside your own organization, then you don't need blockchain. You only make use of blockchain if you are transacting across companies and across industries also. Back to your question, so what we're doing on the remittance specific, since we are talking in a remittance conference here, we're working with some fintech companies, Cajulius, a company which is formed by Dr. Ziad Alshobaki here. We start working with them. We see a lot of innovation coming from what they do, and I think maybe Dr. Ziad can elaborate later on. We're also working with the Dubai Future Accelerator, working also with the DIFC Hive to look at what fintechs can offer us today. But from the inside, we've started working on developing our internal knowledge and trying as much as possible to use the open source. So if I can really develop my knowledge on a platform that is free of cost, and I own the IP, I can easily then share it with others, right? But if I have to go through one of the giant providers and I have to take a modified version of blockchain from them, then I'm always bound to pay them licenses. So this is the approach, at least, that we've taken. We know that this technology is evolving, it will mature, and it will change completely. I mean, we see every 6 months almost it's reshaping itself. I mean, one year back here, no one would talk about Hyperledger. What is Hyperledger? Now we're talking about Hyperledger as one of the very promising platforms in addition to Ethereum and the former Bitcoin. So what we wanted to do in Emirates MBD, we said we don't want to invest much by acquiring licenses and engaging a very expensive consultancy. We'd rather work by developing internal knowledge and work with consortiums of our partners and peers, and also with local companies, innovative companies like the company which Dr. Ziad is formed here.
My question to Dr. Ziad, you are one of the first people who were talking about blockchain. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, you came up to me and you said, Ziad, have you heard of a blockchain? Right. It was so early at that time, and today you're getting involved more and more, and we got to know that you started the company for blockchain services. Where do you see the benefit, or what's the services that you're planning to offer to those companies or banks in the Middle East, and how those solutions can help these organizations to offer a better service using a blockchain?
Great. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, everybody. Yes, I remember Ziad talking about this a couple of years back, because I come from an academic background, as I was teaching at the UAE University, and by nature I'm a researcher, so I'm always looking at the leading cutting-edge technologies where that can be exploited and used in a government perspective or in different verticals. Well, yes, I mean, talking about opportunities about blockchain, what blockchain offers, whether globally or locally to the UAE. I think we've seen, very good examples from the previous speakers about the tremendous disruptions and opportunities where blockchain, is an ideal or a potential technology. And we want to really explore those areas or the intrinsic features of blockchain, cutting down the intermediate, eliminating the intermediaries, reducing the transaction cost. For example, money transfer. The previous speaker has the money remittance internationally. If we can, do that transaction with a fraction of a second, imagine how many people here in UAE, what we call the cheap labor who are working on constructions, their salaries every month is about around 400 dirhams, and they do the transfer now, it costs them around between 15 to 20 dirhams to transfer 400 dirhams to their home country. If we can do that with a fraction of a cost, less than a dirham, I think we achieve a lot. We are working on this space. We've been working on our payment remittance solution. I have partners from South Korean. By the way, South Korean been using blockchain for quite a number of years now in their banking industry and also in their money transfer and settlement. So yes, we want to explore the opportunities and bring solutions here to UAE where can benefit the entire population. Of course, we know the government strategy, the Dubai government strategy going into blockchain by 2020, digitizing all the transactions and putting them on the blockchain, being paperless, achieving government efficiency, creating an industry, achieving international leadership. So we see that there is a huge market globally, but also in the UAE. And we started this business to try to explore some of the areas where we can really bring some innovative solutions. Part of this is also education and training, and this is really very important, like how many people understand the technology and how many people know the details, the inner working of this technology. So we want to bring kind of training workshops, educational workshops to spread the knowledge, spread the know-how about the inner workings of the technology. So I see that there is a lot of space in terms of either providing solutions or providing consultations, and also in the education and training.
So which verticals do you think you need to focus on? So as a consultant today, which are the verticals that you think they are ready to start with the blockchain? Is it financial? Is it real estate? Is it, what is it? Is it retail? What is it exactly?
I think a lot of use cases in the finance and money remittance. So this is one vertical that we focus on, the banking and finance. I think there is a lot of room for innovation into this, as well as into other domains as well. But yes, we've been building our own app for money remittance, and hopefully within a couple of months we will launch this app. We are also working in bringing something like a blockchain exchange, or a cryptocurrency exchange to the UAE. So these are some of the ideas that we try to explore, and we try to bring solutions in these spaces.
Excellent. Mr. Ali, what is the second project after remittance you think Emirates NBD will be ready to deploy? I mean, you're testing blockchain right now for remittance. What is coming? Tell us the secrets. Tell us what you're working on, what you're cooking inside.
So good question, Ziad. Thank you. Actually, the next item or the next use case, which is going live anytime this month, is that if you refer to the earlier presentation where they were talking about the diamonds and how can you really understand whether this diamond is genuine, right? So this is if we look on the banking industry, the paper check, which is still a very instrumental and a very strong type of instrument that is being exchanged, especially in this region and the United Arab Emirates. For the banks, the leaf itself that you receive at your counter for cashing or for clearing is always a risk, because this could be a fraud check, right? Now, ideally, we should move away from checks, right? But this, I don't know when that will happen. I mean, in the US itself, they are struggling, they can't, because it's very heavy. We have some jurisdictions where they have totally stopped using checks, like in the Netherlands. But at least in this region, at this stage, we saw that how can we authenticate the check itself? So what we came up with is that we said we're going to create a QR code that will be printed on every single leaf of the checkbook. So it is an unique barcode for every single leaf, and that barcode represents a hash on the blockchain. Right? So what we do then is that we're hoping that we're working with one of the local Dubai banks also to start experimenting with them. So what we want to achieve is that when Emirates NBD check is presented at Bank X, for example, for clearing, there itself they can use technology by scanning the barcode, checking in the blockchain to see whether this hash exists or not. If it exists, this means this check is genuine. Then they can send it for clearing. And from our calculation, this will reduce the fraud from faking the checks itself. You can't reduce the fraud from the signature itself, that you can solve through another solution, hopefully very soon. But at least the leaf itself, we can authenticate that this is a genuine check by referring on the QR code that's sitting on the check against the public blockchain.
Okay, one final question. Our time is up, but one final question to Dr. Saeed. Dr. Saeed, in terms of education, I know there's a lack of resources in all around the world in terms of blockchain. Is there a step you're going to start to basically train banks or train students or train technical people to start using blockchain or coding or working on a blockchain?
And thank you, Ziad, for the questions. I think the universities here, including UAE universities and the Khalifa universities and some of the local universities in UAE, are really looking into this, into the education side of it. I know from my experience with some of the IT department in the UAE university and the people who are working in the mathematics and the cryptocurrency are really very interested. And we just had a couple of weeks ago the blockchain seminar that was conducted by Ittisalat, and we had people from the UAE University coming to speak about the algorithms, about the proof of work, about the proof of stake. So this is a very technical area where we see local expertise are really stepping in, trying to understand and trying to innovate and bring more innovation into this. When it comes to education, I think we need to do a lot. The majority of people, they do not understand what the technology is and how to apply the technology. And when it comes to implementation, like they said, the thug and the devil. So it's really people need to understand and to become mature about how the technology is applied. I just want to refer to a very good case where blockchain has already been implemented here in UAE. And as of yesterday, I was speaking to the guy who's from, any people from Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange here? By the way, Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange implemented a blockchain e-voting solution, and they demoed it in GTX 2016 last year. Now, this e-voting solution was done for the general assemblies of corporate companies. And talking to the people of Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange, the biggest problem that they face when launching this application is about the people, about educating the people, really those board members, to come and use. I mean, if you can give me a solution where I can vote without attending General Assembly, this is great. I don't have to attend the General Assembly or the board meetings. So yes, the technology plays an important role, and I think there's also challenges about the technology, but when it comes to the rollout and to the education and training, we need to focus more on training the people. Right now, there are about 4 companies using this e-voting solution with Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange, and help with also the authority, the securities authority in the UAE. So they created a private blockchain with the few nodes between the authority and between Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange, where the authority also want to audit and to see visibility of the, what's happening on the blockchain. So there is really a very successful application, and I think Abu Dhabi Stock Exchange, they have received a lot of interest from South Africa, from India, to look into this implementation. It is by far the first implementation of a blockchain in UAE, and I think when I'm talking to the people, there is a lot of things to learn, because it's not just a straightforward implementation. When you go into the details, you will find yourself, you need to change a lot of things, for the solution to work.